Hey, it's Kat from catandpaste.wordpress.com, and I'm doing the first part of what I think is going to be a 6-part series on the pen tool. We're going to start in Photoshop because I figure that most people that are still trying to figure it out, they might only have Photoshop at this point. I'm using an older version. This is CS2, but this should apply pretty well to any version of Photoshop. Basically, what you need to know already is how to create a file and move around in it and zoom and move objects, things like that. If you don't know, you might want to check out some other tutorials first. But if you do, then you're ready to start with the pen tool. And it was really frustrating for me when I first started learning, so I'll try to hopefully guide you through the things that kind of had me hung up and hopefully get you to that point where you can make shapes that are interesting. Basically, what you can already do in Photoshop, if you go to the shape tool over here in the toolbar, you can select whatever shape you want and you can draw a rectangle, and that's it. But if you want to do a custom shape, then you need to rely on the pen tool for pretty accurate shapes. So what you want to do is make sure you have a color selected. I have this lovely purple. You can select whatever you want. And go to the pen tool, and if you click and hold, you'll see these different options come up. Right now, for the basics, we're just going to stick with the first one, the pen tool. Select it and let go, and we're going to draw some really simple shapes. But there's two things you need to know about the pen tool. Basically, you can make either a really sharp corner or you can make a rounded corner, and that depends how you click. If you just click and let go, you have a sharp corner. You can't really tell yet, but it's there. There's a little dot. And if you click and drag, you get a rounded corner. And that's basically how you draw shapes, is one of the two. You click and drag, or you click and let go. And that's going to determine whether it's a sharp corner, like right here, or if it's nice and curved. So I'm going to delete that layer. You can also see that your shape layer pops up here when you start drawing it. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to have you guys try this on your own. I want you to try to make 3 kinds of shapes. Basically, one that just has sharp corners. So you just click, click, there's no dragging, just click, and then you connect it to your starting point. And there you have your sharp corner shape. And then I want you to do another one that's all rounded corners. Just round them out and connect them, and you click and drag that one too. And there's your rounded corner shape. And then I want you to try to make one that combines the two, kind of the combo meal, if you will. And just click, and then maybe do a rounded one, and then a sharp one, maybe another sharp one. Just play with it, and you can see how what you do is going to affect the line that you're wanting to connect and the future line. This is really important to just play around and kind of figure out how these things behave. Okay, so once you've done that, you've kind of, feel a little bit more comfortable with the pen tool, but you're probably not there just yet. I'm going to delete these 3 layers, drag them down to the trash. Really, the thing to know is that it's hard to draw a custom shape with the pen tool unless you're tracing. So basically, if you have a shape in mind or an image that you're wanting to outline, you need to get that in there. Whether it's a rough sketch, or if you find something online, or you have a photograph, put that in there, and then it's going to make it a whole lot easier to outline. So I have this photo of an England crest, and I will link to this photo on my website, the blog site, catandpaste.wordpress.com. And so if you wanted to use this one, you can. You're going to click, open it up, click and drag it over into the file that you've opened for your shapes, and we're just going to outline this white crest. Pretty simple, but there's something you need to know first. If you just select the pen tool and you start outlining it, you're going to end up covering it the shape that you're trying to outline, and then you can't see it, and that's a pretty big problem with tracing. You need to be able to see what's underneath. So I'm going to delete that shape real quick. What you need to do is take the shape that you're tracing, the layer that you're tracing, right click on it and go up to duplicate layer. Select that and hit OK. And then with this new layer on top, you're going to just lower that opacity, make it transparent, kind of like a piece of tracing paper. And so now it should look exactly the same, but you have two layers here. Click on the bottom layer so it's selected, because your shape will automatically go above whatever layer is selected. So you want to select the bottom one, go to your pen tool, make sure that's selected, and then start drawing your basic shape. And as you can see, I can now see the outline that I'm still trying to trace. It's not blocked. I'm going to delete that because that was really poorly done. And we're going to walk through this step by step real quick to kind of help you guys see how to trace a shape. Usually I try to find a sharp corner to start with. And if there aren't any, then I try to find a really obvious curve, or you kind of learn what good starting points are. So I'm going to start here. You can start anywhere, really. I'm start at this corner. Since it's a sharp corner, I'm just going to click and let go, and a little point shows up. And then I'm going to go to the next sharp corner and just click and let go. Right now you can't see the shape because it's just a straight line. You can see the line, but that's about it. When I come down here, you see that it starts to curve in this area. So I don't want to do a sharp corner, I want to start the curve. But you kind of have to think ahead. If I do it here, it's going to end up curving all of this area. So I want to actually attack it before the curve starts. I'm going to come about here, click and drag just a bit, not a whole bunch. And you can see that the line still matches up with the straight line above it. Let go, and now you can start to see your shape is forming. The next part, I'm going to come down here. I'm not going to come quite to this point. I'm going to come to a bit before this bigger curve that happens here, and I'm going to click and drag, and you just drag it enough so that that line matches up right there to the white. And if you don't get it exact, that's okay, because once you've drawn the shape, you can come right back and adjust it, and that's the beauty of it. So it doesn't have to be perfect this time around. Just get it pretty accurate. Since this is a symmetrical shape down the center, I can pretty much bet that I can find the same points, do the same thing this way up that I did on the way down, and it should work out pretty well. So I'll click here and drag, and it's not very exact, so I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to play with that a little bit more. I'm going to come, that just undid it. I'm going to come up here maybe a little bit further. There we go. And I can tell you right now that I made this curve too strong, but I can go back and adjust it. So from here, I'm going to come back up to about here and click and drag and make that line match up as well as I can. And then I'll come up here and finish this with a sharp corner. Just click and let go, and now it's attached. So there we go. And if I get rid of these two layers of the image, you can see that I have a shape. It's not exactly what I want yet, so I'll turn these back on. And with this shape layer selected, I'm going to go and select the selection arrow. I can also hit A to get it. And what I can do is find these points. And I can click and drag these points and adjust them more. And I can also adjust these handles. There we go. And make them match up a lot better. And you can always come back and do this. And you can also, what I'll go over at another point, is you can come in and add points, and you can take away points and really modify the shape and customize it. But once you have that adjusted, you can get rid of those tracing layers. You could delete them if you want, if you're done with them. And if you hit the move tool up here, or select V on the keyboard, you can now drag it around and you have a custom shape. That's basically it for this one. Next time, on the second part of this series, I'll go through designing a custom shape that's a little more tricky, and just going through a shape that was requested by a friend that's pretty popular right now in wedding invitations and announcements and things like that. So we'll get moving on that next time. Stay tuned.